Welcome to a new Smart Money video on personal finance, and I'm going to share 5 habits that if you do them one way, they make you rich, but if you do them the other way, they make you poor. My name is Bradley Taylor, and I have been an entrepreneur and investing for 20 years. Today I'm going to share some things that I've learned about money, not only from my own experiences, but from reading many books and from being with others who have really succeeded in personal finance. Many people struggle with personal finance. They have a poor relationship with money. It leads them to being in debt and having a high-low experience. This means every single month they have a high experience when they're paid, and they have a low experience somewhere in the middle towards the end of the month when they start to run out of money. They don't have the money for the things they want, and they want things they can't afford. It's a very unhealthy relationship. It's frustrating, and it causes many of us to feel inadequate and unable to succeed. Now, today's video is about 5 habits that, when done right, bring you success and help you to get free. It's not a quick rich scheme. This does take time, but if you put the time in, you will reap the reward and start to become more and more financially free. So what are the 5 habits that if we do them, they will get us out of debt and also help us to be in control of our money? We're going to cover them. Now, importantly, each of the 5 habits build on each other. So it's not good enough just to do one of them. Ideally, we want to do all 5 of these habits. Personal finance habit number 1 is to get in the habit of setting financial goals and then monitoring them each month. This is really critical. For example, an emergency fund is a very important goal to have financially. Now, you might say, I want 6 months worth of living expenses in my emergency fund. So what you do is you set that as a goal. And then the next step is every single month you monitor your progress and you put some money away into your emergency fund. So say your goal is to have $1,000, just to keep the math simple. In month 1, you put $100 away, and you look at your balance and it's 100, and it's okay, and it doesn't feel particularly good, it doesn't feel bad, so be it. Month 2, you have $200, and you look at your balance. It's important for you to look at the balance. It's important for you to monitor the goal. I'll tell you why in a moment. So you monitor the goal. Month 3, month 4, month 5, 6. You get to month 7, and you have $700 out of 1,000. I'll tell you what starts to take place, and this is why it's important to monitor your goals. In your mind, dopamine is released. When you get closer to your goal, dopamine is released. When you start to see progress and success, dopamine is released. It makes you feel good. It makes you realize, wow, I'm achieving something. It's your body's way of reinforcing a pleasurable behavior. Now, what have you done? You have managed to create financial goals that are good for you, which your body will reinforce for you to keep on doing. And the final reason for monitoring goals is because you need to see if you're on track or not. And if you're not on track, you can take a moment to look at things and find a way to get back on track. And if you are on track, you can celebrate that. So monitoring it allows for a positive reinforcement to take place if you're on track, and allows for you to course correct if you're not on track. Personal finance habit number 2 is about setting a budget and then monitoring and tracking your spending. It's very close to number 1. I suppose you could say it is like tracking and monitoring a goal. But I call it out specifically because every successful business has a budget and monitors their spending and the amount of money comes in. Surely, if you treat your life like a successful business, that's got to be a good thing. So that's why I call this out particularly by itself, because it is really important that we monitor all of our spending, and we then monitor against the budget how we're doing, because that creates an ability for us to understand, are we spending more or less than what we earn, and are we spending too much in one area and not enough in another area? All of that control we can get from this habit of budgeting and tracking expenses is now in our possession. If we don't do a budget and if we don't track, we actually lose control. It will feel like money just goes through our fingers and we don't know where it's gone and we don't know what it's achieving. So in order to get control of your money, you do need to track spending and have a budget. Now that is a habit because it takes daily effort sometimes. Sometimes you spend money every day. You need to record it every day. Get a simple app, keep a little Excel spreadsheet, whatever it is that you need to do to track your spending, track it. At the end of the month, you reconcile that against your budget. That's why it's a habit, because you need to do it over and over and over. And the more you do it, the wiser you will become with your money, because you'll start to see things. Oh wow, I didn't realize I spent $70 a month on coffee, just coffee. And then you begin to think like, that's close to $800, $900 a year for some of us on coffee. Is that worth it? When you really wanted to take that trip, overseas trip, which only cost $900. So an overseas trip for a week with wonderful experiences, that's just for one, or coffee every day out at Starbucks. You can start to make those decisions. You're empowered to make those decisions when you have a habit of tracking your expenses and reconciling against your budget. If you're enjoying this video, please remember to hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. We've got habits 3, 4, and 5 coming up. And remember, these habits cut both ways. If you get into the habit of doing the wrong thing, it's really going to cut the wrong way, and it's going to make you poorer. If you get into the habit of doing it the right way, it's going to help you become wealthier. So habit number 3 is vital. And it's going to sound a little bit strange, but bear with me. It is quite simple and profound. As humans, the more we see something, the more we want it. What we want is what we see. So let's make that practical. There is a new cell phone out on the market, the new iPhone. And the more I look at the advertising, the more I read about the features, the more I see outputs from the camera, the more I want the new iPhone. If I simply stopped looking at anything to do with that phone, the desire to buy it would drop down unless I really needed it. And this is the critical thing. If you want to stop buying things that you want and you want to get to only things you need to be very careful what you look at. Why? Because what we as humans see, we want these things. And advertising has been specifically crafted to get us to buy that thing. They know people just like us. They've asked people just like us questions. Do you like this advert? Is this appealing to you? Would you buy this? And then through a process of refinement and elimination, they optimize the advertising to maximize the amount of purchases. And so the more we see it, the more we want to buy these things. So what is the cure? The habit of seeing in the wrong way is making us poor, and the cure is to see the right things. Start to see ideas, start to see business, start to see relationships and friends, not things. See things which don't cost anything. The more you put that in front of your eyes, the more you consciously choose those things, the better it is going to be. We have 2 more powerful habits to come. One of them is about purpose, and another is going to touch more on entertainment. Habit number 4 is about purpose, specifically getting in the habit of remembering your purpose. Remembering your purpose of why you work. And this is really important. When you go to work, if you are unsure of your purpose, well then what you're going to do with your paycheck is going to be pretty random. But if you're sure of your purpose, then what you do with your paycheck is going to be certain. What do I mean by this? Let me explain. So on one hand, your purpose might be, I go to work to earn money so I can buy stuff. Or I go to work to earn money so I can be free. Those are 2 very different purposes. The first one is naturally setting you up to look for things, again, back to habit number 3, be careful what you see, for stuff to buy, for experiences to buy, to spend money. The flip side of that habit of purpose around work is that I set myself up for freedom. If I go to work for freedom, then I'm going to work to build my finances, to build my investment portfolio, to perhaps build a nest egg, so to speak, that I can start a business. And that is really important. So there is quite a significant difference. Another purpose for working might simply be to help others. And that then, of course, does cost money because you're going to spend it. But hopefully you get a sense of purpose is actually the driving force which sits behind a lot of our motivations. I created a video on personal SWOT analysis, which really helps with this. You go through your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and I'll link it at the end. But basically, you're then able to create a smart action plan at the end of it. That helps with purpose because it aligns your purpose, your opportunities with your strengths so that you have a greater chance of success and a more fulfilling and meaningful career or any endeavor actually that you go on. And so we've made it to personal finance habit number 5, and this one is super important. It is what we do with our time. Are we in a habit of entertainment or education? For myself, I have chosen a habit of education, and what this means is my financial education grows every week. My academic education around numbers and math grows every week, and my professional education in different businesses and business ventures and the professional activities I have grow every week because I've chosen to spend a significant amount of my free time, free inverted commas, free time on education and limit the amount of entertainment. This is really purposeful, and I've chosen it to be that way. So I've now gotten into a habit of education. So when I finish working for the day and I'm now looking for the next thing to do, I don't automatically just switch on the TV. Sometimes I switch on my phone and I read something that's meaningful to me. Perhaps there's something I'm trying to study and I spend a little bit of time on that. Or I watch a YouTube video around something specific. Perhaps in the gym, I'm trying to understand a particular movement and get better at it, so I watch a video on it. It's all education and it's building. But what that is doing is it's creating a future potential that I can take advantage of. And that is going to help my personal finances a lot, because I might be able to make $1,000 this week. But if I keep growing in time, I'm going to be able to make $10,000 a week. And that is an important thing, and it's not fast money. It does take time, but if you put the time in, you will get the benefit. So habit number 5 is, are you in a habit of entertaining yourself, your default, or, and that's me flipping up on the screen of the phone, or are you in the habit of education? I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I'm going to place 2 links. One link is going to be to the video that I mentioned earlier, and that is around the personal SWOT that I mentioned, and the other one is how to get out of debt fast, how to use the principle of compounding in your favor, and how to get away from minimum payments to reduce the amount of time it takes to pay off debt. So I hope you did enjoy this. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and share this video with someone, because together we can create an abundance.